We go inside out now with our NBA insider, Ian Begley, joining us from the Garden. And Ian, it was our first look at Kemba Walker and Evan Fournier in Knicks uniforms. They finished with 12 points each. How did the offense look with those new additions?
Tom Thibodeau liked the spacing. Thibodeau and the players liked the way the ball moved. And one thing that you saw tonight that you didn't see a lot of last season was it wasn't all through Julius Randle tonight. There were different ways to get the ball going towards the basket and to get open looks. And that's what the Knicks were hoping when they signed Kemba Walker and they signed Evan Fournier. You start to see that a little bit tonight, that it doesn't have to go through Randle each and every time down the floor. Variety is a good thing for this Knicks offense. It should keep defenses guessing a little bit more than they were last year.
Alleviates some pressure off of Randle. A lot of focus recently on Obi Toppin as well. Heading into his sophomore year, he had 10 points and 5 boards in 14 minutes. What stood out about his performance?
He just seemed confident. And I think, I'm not a psychiatrist. I don't try to guess at what guys are thinking out there, but the way he was moving, he just seemed very confident in his movement, much more fluid with on his back to the basket moves. He got out in transition. So just bigger, stronger, more comfortable. And for Toppin, I think if you're the Knicks, you're hoping that he can give you consistent production off that bench, because that means you can play Julius Randle a little bit less this season. Remember, he led the NBA in minutes last year. If you can knock him down a couple minutes, I think that bodes well for the long-term prospect for this team.
Yeah, and he's really on a mission to improve. But it was a busy Tuesday for you, Ian. You were also at Nets practice earlier in the day, while Kyrie Irving was not. What's the latest on his status?
The Nets have no answer as far as when he may be back. And I thought it was interesting because I asked Steve Nash, have you been communicating with Kyrie Irving about what you'd like him to work on, how you'd like him to work out when he's not at these practices in Brooklyn, presumably because he doesn't have the COVID-19 vaccine. And Nash said he hadn't talked to Kyrie about that. The Nets hadn't talked to Kyrie about that. And, later there was a report from ESPN that made it seem as if the organization is losing patience with this particular situation here with Kyrie Irving. And obviously he needs to be vaccinated to play games and practice for this Nets team. And the idea that it hasn't happened yet and he missed the Nets' first practice at home in this preseason is a troubling sign. We'll see where it goes from here. If he gets the shot, he will be on the court for the Nets. If he doesn't, there's going to be a lot of different ramifications of that move that the Nets are going to have to figure out.